Yesterday we talked about our interconnections with the One Life, but now we're going to talk about a different series of interconnections that we have through the One Life. We're going to be talking about our ancestors, our lineages, and how to connect with them, and honestly, how to cut some of them off. So let's talk about that today as we walk together down creation's path. Hello, everyone. My name is Charlie. I'm a Christopagan Druid and priest of Bridget. I'm joined today by my husband.
Hello, I'm Brian. I'm a Christopagan Druid and sous chef to the Dogna.
Today, we are going to be talking about ancestors. We're going to be talking a little bit about ancestor altars because have you noticed a trend yet? We talk about altars a lot. We're going to be talking about how to connect to your ancestors, who exactly your ancestors are, and what the value of lineage is. But before we get into all that, don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, whatever the wording is on whatever you're listening to us on. We do new Christopagan Druidic episodes every day. You don't want to miss a single one. We've got a lot of interesting stuff planned, especially if this one is right up your alley. We have a lot of stuff like this planned in the lead up to Samhain. Don't forget to do that. Thank you so much for everybody who does. Alrighty, let's start where we need to start. I wrote a triad. I know you're shocked by now. You've been listening to the podcast enough. I wrote a bunch of triads for A Dream of an Oak Church, which you can read over at wisdomscry.com. It's linked right from the homepage. So the triad for this root of Druidry is this: 3 currents of ancestral honor, the stream of memory, the forge of tradition, the harvest of wisdom. 3 is a really important number when it comes to our ancestors, because one of the most liberating and I think empowering ideas that I encountered when I first started studying modern Druidry is that we do not have one line of ancestors. I know what you're probably thinking, but we always have 2. We've got our mother and our father, and the line's going back. No. That's just one line. That's your bloodline. That's the people who made new people all the way till we get to you. That's your bloodline. You also have your milk line. These are those people who have nourished you. These could be teachers. These could be actual teachers that you've sat with. These could be teachers that all you've done is read their books. These could be the spirits that guide you. You also have your landline. That is your connection to all of the people who lived on the land before you. These 3 lineages help us to connect not only to our own past, but to help us to understand who and what we are in our current moment. I know I have a lot of sadness when it comes to my landline because I live in the United States and, well, we stole all of this land from the indigenous peoples who lived here. I actually live in a place that had its land stolen 3 times because we kicked out who was here and then we promised it to the Lakota second in a treaty that we signed, and then we took it away from them. Then we promised it to some other people during the Trail of Tears, and then we decided, nope, it's ours, and we kicked them out too. So we stole this land 3 times. 3 times! 3 different people, indigenous groups that we promised, nope, you can have that forever. In the treaty that we signed with the Lakota, we promised them this land until the rivers stop flowing, and they're still flowing. They actually sued in court in the early 2000s to try to get the treaty honored. Dealing with our ancestry can be fraught, I think is the best word there. That starts with our most immediate ancestors. Not all of us have good relationships with our parents or grandparents. For me, my biggest problem's literally with one grandparent. I am very fortunate to have had many grandparents because there's a lot of divorce and remarriage in my family leading up to me.
Another of the problem comes in from the time period that they lived in, the culture of the time they lived in. That can be very problematic because certain language that is absolutely unacceptable today, I wouldn't even be able to say it. It would be a violation of terms of service to use some words that they use commonly. Certain level of misogyny that was just acceptable. Other things that have just developed over time.
Just to be quite honest, my great-great-grandfather on one branch of the family was a multiple murderer. He murdered several of his wives And they slapped him on the wrist. He didn't technically get away with it. He was
Yeah.
charged, tried, and convicted. And I think he got 2 years for one killing and 5 years for the second. Luckily, his third wife grabbed the kids and ran. That's how I got here. Oh, but I don't want to connect with that ancestor.
Yeah.
For example,
Yeah.
you don't have to know your ancestry all the way back. I'm sure all of us have problematic folk in our ancestry. I am fascinated by ancestry. For example, on my great grandmother's side, on my through my father, she is descended from British nobles who came over during the Norman conquest. We know her lineage back to the turn of the last millennium, not the 2000s, but the 1000s. The branch that gets to us, he was somehow disowned by his father. They called his younger brother back from the priesthood to take over. And there's stories I need to know.
Almost landed gentry.
Almost. I'm obsessed with learning as much as I can about my family stories because I want to know what's true, what's not true. Where did we actually come from? You don't have to do that. This isn't that kind of ancestry work. If you feel called to do that, by all means, do.
It's a fun journey.
It is a fun journey. You will find out some interesting things. Like one of your grandfathers signed the letter to the governor of Massachusetts to end the Salem witch trials.
It was really interesting when we got to that point because I started getting really nervous when we had tracked them back to the Bay Colonies, to that time period of the witch trials. We actually found the signature on that letter to the governor. And of course, as Charlie joked, well, they were just trying to protect the real witches from being burned at the stake while they were getting everybody else.
There are these fun, amazing stories
Yeah.
that you can find out. There is a lot of epigenetic lineage that you get from them that has come down to you, not to mention just the spiritual heritage that you get from them, that really does inform a lot about your life. I always felt very at home in Maryland when we moved to Maryland when I was a kid, only to find out that the progenitor of my paternal bloodline was originally a indentured servant in Maryland, not 50 miles away from where we were living. That is the first place that part of my family lived in this country. And it felt so much like home when I got there, and it always confused me until I found that out. Oh, of course this felt like home. The same thing with some places in New England. And that's where one of my maternal lines came in from. That's where they were living. That's where they first came from. And so I could still felt this connection to the place, even though I didn't know those stories. There are a lot of times where I think we have that kind of familial connection, and you don't have to track it down. This isn't about becoming obsessive about this. It's really interesting when you do find out where that connection came from. So that's the bloodlines. We're going to talk about dealing with them in a second, but that's the bloodlines. Your milk lines are those who have nourished you. These can be the various traditions that you come from. I will forever be indebted to the Hermeticists that came before me. I consider Cornelius Agrippa as one of my ancestors on this line because I learned a lot from him. I put the Buddha on this line because I learned a lot from him and quite a few great Buddhist teachers down the line as well. These are the people that have nourished your soul, who have helped you in some way that you are not blood related to. This is those lineages that stretch back, that connect you spiritually to all of the things that make you you. All of the philosophers, all of the mystics, all of the teachers. I have a weird connection to one of my father's teachers because it's the teacher who taught my dad a lot, made him who he is. And out of a freak accident, I ended up having her as a teacher as well. She provided a very similar role in my life. She helped me get interested in writing and telling stories and saw that was really a talent that I had. So some of these people you have met, many of them you only have this connection to. Their poetry has moved you. Their music has moved you. Their words have moved you. But in some way, they have nourished you. The most fraught one is the land line. The land line is everyone who lived where you live now. For me, this is a mixed bag. My family were homesteaders here in the place I'm currently living. In fact, the house that I'm currently living in is on the land that my great-great-grandfather was granted after the Civil War, because he fought on behalf of the Union, and all of the Union soldiers were given a parcel of land. In fact, just across the road over On the other side is the parcel of land that my other ancestors were given, and half the roads in town are named after people that I am related to. I have that connection to the land. That is important. I do honor that because this land had already been stolen by the time they came here. But I also feel this kind of heartbreak for all of the peoples that had lived here that were forcibly removed. It really breaks my heart that they are not still here, that we cannot sit and learn from them and hear their stories. I have been trying to find ways to connect to those peoples, but at the same time, this is very important for those of us, especially of white European descent, as much as I despise the term white, because it is entirely made up, but I don't want to pester them. I have no right to their stories. Understanding that living in right relationship with them means I may want this information. I may want to have this connection. I have no right to force this connection on them.
It is a very tricky problem that comes up, especially when it comes to honoring the land, the peoples that influenced that land before us, because you have spots that get marked by events and people that really can leave that land in a state. Some of the hauntings come up and other things because trauma that had happened there. There is that problem in researching that and learning about the ancestors of that land. You also don't want to be a nuisance.
Also, you don't want to let your imagination get in. This is a problem that we have because we do deal in a very imaginal world sometimes when we're dealing with spirits, and it is hard sometimes to discern what is a spirit talking to us and what is our own wish fulfillment. For example, my grandfather's farm, I want to know the stories there. I want to know the old stories there because I used to help my grandpa get the fields ready for planting every year. Without fail, we would find every year 3 to 5 arrowheads. Was there a battle there? Was this a hunting ground? There are a lot of deer around here. It's very possible that this is where they would go and hunt deer or some of the other wildlife in the area. I don't know why there were so many arrowheads, because they were finding arrowheads all the way back to when my mother was a child. They would find several every year when they would till the soil. And as a child, I would find several a year tilling the soil. There were hundreds of arrowheads in this plot, in this field plot. It wasn't a very large plot that we were tilling every year. I would love to know the story there. I can sit and I can meditate and I can connect with the land. I can feel what I think happened. I am very strongly of the opinion that it was a hunting ground, but I cannot take that as the God's honest truth. And that's where this ancestor work, we need to be very careful that it's not wish fulfillment. I want it to be a hunting ground because I don't want it to be a battlefield where anyone possibly connected to me as an ancestor fought these people. I don't want it to be where my country fought these people. So there is shame, potential shame in this having been a battlefield. So there is an element of wish fulfillment in my personal belief, this feeling that I have that this is where the indigenous people used to go hunting. I also feel like it is a quasi-justified. It's a forested area around here. There are so many deer that it does feel quite likely that that's what it really was. I don't know.
Yeah.
And through all the research that I've done, I can't find verifiable proof one way or the other. So I could tell people my feelings. And you're entitled to your feelings. Don't let anybody tell you you're not. The only time you're not entitled to your feelings is when they really, truly object with factual reality. I feel that it was a hunting ground, but were I to learn that a pivotal battle happened here or something, I have to throw out my feelings.
Then you have facts and you go with the facts.
But there is nothing wrong as long as you don't get too locked into what you are feeling spirit is saying to you. I think that's where a lot of people get wrong when they are first communicating with spirit. When I first connected to my paternal line, the spirits were very clear that we were from Ireland. Just flat out clear that we were from Ireland. I had a problem with that because I could not find any proof of that initially, because our last name is either of French origin or English origin or Scottish origin. 3 versions of my last name exist, and they're either English, Scottish, or French. None of that's Irish. When I finally tracked down my family, well, Francis, who was the first to come over, came over from Armagh, Ireland, as an indentured servant. I don't know how long he and his family had lived in Ireland, but my family did come over from Ireland. That I was able to, through the research, show that. I still won't say that they were Irish, because I don't know. His trail disappears. I can't find anything about his father. I can't find anything about anything. I don't know if he was from a Scottish family that came over. I don't know how they got to Ireland, right? So I try not to say that they were definitely Irish, but I will say that my ancestors are from Ireland, because our spirituality needs to be honest, especially when doing ancestral work, because we can really puff ourselves up or tear ourselves down. And we don't want to be doing either. We want to be learning from the wisdom of our ancestors, growing and becoming better.
This is also where a lot of that basic discernment comes in. What is the fruit of it? Is it a good fruit or a bad fruit? If they're telling you to do bad things, that's not good. That should be a huge warning. If they're telling you things that are good things, well, that's a positive sign. But it's always testing, always proving, holding on to that which you find true. But you got to be doing the testing. In a way, it's almost like any conversation or relationship. It's okay to have that conversation. It's okay to start that relationship to a point, but you have to start testing it and proving that relationship to see if it's worth continuing or getting further involved with the other party. Because relationships with bad things can become bad for everyone involved.
On the Hollowstead podcast, we have a meditation for entering the sacred grove. It's actually part of a series. If you are not familiar with getting into the light body, I would start with learning light body technique. We have an episode on that over there as well. And then once you're into your light body, you can do more in the grove. They're actually recorded in such a way that you can go from one to the next. There's no beep, stings, anything to interrupt you. You can put them in a playlist and go from one to the next so that you can string them together for a longer meditation. In the grove is a place where I frequently meet my ancestors. It is a meditation that I do almost every night. Sometimes I'll do it earlier in the day and at night, because I just do it earlier in the day. But it's a meditation I do almost every day. I'd like to say every day, but sometimes I'm really tired and I fall asleep before I get to do it. And that's okay. One of the people that I meet in my grove quite often is my great-grandfather, who I called Poppy. Now, I actually knew him. I was, I think, around 8 years old when he died, somewhere around there. I knew him. We used to sit and have long conversations. We used to walk around the farm and have just amazing conversations about his life. Those conversations have continued in the grove. He has given me advice. He has given me really wonderful, helpful stuff. See, I called him Poppy. Everyone else called him Doc. The reason for that is he was a cunning man. He knew all of the herbs and trees and plants in the region. And no matter what ailed you, he would go take a walk in the woods, come back, brew up something for you to make you better. He would do that for the people. He would do that for the animals. That's just who Poppy was. Several times during these meditations, Poppy has said, "Oh, Brian's been having problems with his sinuses. Have him brew this tea." Now tell him, while it's brewing, sit over it, maybe put a towel over your head, and inhale the vapors as it's brewing, and then drink it. It'll help out a lot. I knew all the ingredients. It was healthy, nothing dangerous in it. I told you about it. It's helpful. He's done the same thing for me for a really nice stomach tamer tea. That kind of wisdom, whether it's my brain with the herbal lore that I have, piecing things together and putting it in the mouth of my great-grandfather, or the spirit of my great-grandfather coming to me and sharing his wisdom, especially the tea that he gave you. I remember him making that for my grandmother. As soon as you made it, like I didn't off the top of my head, but I remember walking around with him, picking the herbs because she was having really bad allergies. And the smell of it, once you started brewing it, I was like, I remembered him actually making that brew. And that, again, could be it. I could have remembered it. I think people get too caught up on this. That's why I always bring it up. Is it my mind? Am I actually talking to the spirit? Which is it? If you are seeking wisdom and you receive actual wisdom, does it matter? I believe that I am talking to my great-grandfather. I really do. That's mainly because he's also told me a couple of the things. He's given me some advice about things, like some of my biggest regrets were blah, 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 blah. And then I would go talk to my grandmother and be like, so your dad, his relationship with this person, da, da, da. And she would tell me a very similar story. So again, that verify thing, But it doesn't really matter as long as we're having a healthy relationship with it. Everything that we're talking about here is about having that right relationship.
It's something I always found funny for, especially those that have a hard time accepting that they might be talking with a spirit. They're totally fine with the idea of getting a blast of inspiration that makes their brain do everything right, but they won't accept the possibility of a spirit. I always thought it was really funny because, like you said, in the end, it technically doesn't matter as long as the wisdom is good and the fruits of that is good.
If you've not connected with your ancestors before, I highly recommend having an ancestral altar. We have a couple. Our main one, for my family at least, is when a loved one dies, the first thing I ask is, can I have their Bible? I either have their Bible or their rosaries, depending on for those of my ancestors who are Catholic. But I have that of them. I have a wonderful box, a chest, that I have all of those things in. I have all of that in there, and it is one of the places that I go to connect with my family. We have had ancestral altars that just have pictures. I had an altar in the living room for a long time that I have five generations of photos going back.
It was 5 generations.
Because we actually have old tin type.
There...
My great-grandparents, my great-great-grandparents, and my great-great-great-grandparents who I have pictures of. On not for everybody, but for quite a few people. And so I had all of those pictures out. I could see their faces. And that is a wonderful way to do it as well. Just have something that reminds you of the family. Every time I see a butterfly, I can't help but think of one of my grandmothers. Every time I see a rooster, I think of another one of my grandmothers because she decorated her house with roosters and chickens. Whatever it is that connects you to your family. It doesn't have to be a major thing. If your family has a crest, wow, awesome. Use that, sure. But it doesn't have to be something like that. Just write their names down. Occasionally, if you feel called to do so, make a little bit of an offering. I do a water offering at least once a week, which is exactly what it sounds like. I pour a little water in a bowl, and I thank my ancestors. We will, on major holidays, put some food aside for them as an offering to them. But having that place where we're remembering not just our bloodline, but all of our ancestors that have made us who we are, and connecting with them, because we are all interconnected in the one spirit and the one life. They're still here. There's so many stories about my ancestors intervening that I have to get into, because I have one grandmother who has literally saved people from disease. If she were Catholic, I would have put her up for sainthood, but she was not, so I didn't. But my ancestors are very, very active in the family. I think yours are too.
Yeah.
In fact, your grandfather visits me in the Grove every now and then. I love that I can say that and you know exactly which one I'm talking about too.
Oh yeah.
Aaron whistling as he walks in. But take that time and have that connection. And if any part of your family you do not want to have that connection with, tell them. You are not welcome here. Every Bealtaine and Samhain, we open the house for the ancestors to come in. And very clearly, after we do the welcoming, and these people are not allowed. We're clear, we're concise, and then we go on with our celebrations. That is perfectly okay. You don't have to reconnect with everybody in the past, especially those who have done you harm. Ancestor work is very powerful. I do highly recommend it. It is something we're going to be talking about a lot as one of our main practices in Druidry. And of course, with Samhain coming up, the ancestors are coming to visit November 2nd. We're going to help you make sure that you are ready for that if that is an experience you want to have. I hope you have enjoyed the show. If you have, do let us know. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments below. If you're listening to us on Spotify or YouTube, you can leave them right here. If you're listening to us anywhere else, you can leave a comment there, but they won't let us know that you did it. So after you do that, go to creationspast.com, click on the chat, put it in there, let us know. It will let us know, and then we can respond to you, especially if you have any questions about working with your ancestors, because we have several episodes planned on this topic leading up to Samhain, because it is very important, because Dios de los Muertos is not just something for our Latino siblings. It is a part of the Samhain service. It's actually a part of all Episcopal, Anglican, and Catholic services.
Yeah.
November 2nd is the Feast of All Souls, where your ancestors pray for you and come visit.
A lot of the traditions.
It's in a lot of the traditions, and we all agree on the same days. It's coming up. So let us know your questions so that we can answer them prior to Samhain and help you have the best Samhain that you can have. If you already have traditions, you don't have to change them on my account. Please continue on with what you've been doing. If you haven't already, while you're over at creationsfast.com, if you want to sign up for a membership, that helps us out a lot. You can also support us over on Ko-fi or Patreon. I am CE Dorset on both. CEDORSETT. That money really does help us to keep the power on, keep a roof over our head, and keep food on our table. Thank you to everyone who does that. It means the world to us. Until next time, may the power of the One Life connect you to all of those who have nourished you and brought you forth into this world to be the agent of change that you are. Amen.
Amen.